Your dress has an odor reminiscent of something that's been stored away in Gideon Holt's closet for quite a while. No matter how much effort you put in, his lingering scent remains, refusing to leave your body entirely. Indeed, you're familiar with Gideon Holt, one of the senior partners at the law firm where you're employed. Ultimately, you've dedicated a considerable amount of time in his bed. It was effortless. You carried it back with you at least 3 nights a week, but that was just the beginning. Welcome to Addy Story, where we share real-life stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. Subscribe now to join our community, relax, and dive into the stories we have for you. Enjoy. Marissa Langley answered the call as soon as she felt the vibration of her phone. A message arrived from her husband, Tom, who had been away on business for the last few days. She accessed her phone and perused the message. The message stated that business is over here. I'm currently making my way back. We have dinner reservations at Mario's for 7 o'clock this evening. I look forward to seeing you there. Wishing you a joyful anniversary celebration. There was a distinct absence of sentimental affection or sincere emojis. She wasn't really taken aback by that. For some inexplicable reason, Tom had been rather withdrawn in social situations lately. Catch you later, Marissa replied. Happy anniversary, my dear. Love you always. She dispatched the message and placed her phone on the nightstand, yearning for a reply, even just a hint of acknowledgement. All would be well, yet silence lingered in response. Marissa glanced at her watch and noted that she had just enough time to freshen up before meeting her husband. With a soft sigh, she rose from her bed and made her way to the bathroom, preparing for a refreshing shower before her meeting with her husband. Who might that be? Gideon Holt, the man she had just shared hours with, inquired. My spouse, Marissa remarked. He informed me of his return. He has secured a table for us at Mario's this evening. Today marks 5 wonderful years together. So it's your 5th anniversary, is it? Jake inquired. I was under the impression you mentioned he returned to the East. Indeed, he was present, Marissa remarked. It seems he successfully completed everything ahead of schedule. I should give my mom a call to check if she would be okay with keeping little Ezra for a bit longer. All right, then head back to your slumber, Jake remarked with a mischievous smile. Perhaps we could surprise Tom with a small gift. Marissa let out a derisive snort at that. I would be delighted, Jake, but I must attend to some tidying up first. I don't have much time, she said. Fortunately, I have a few fresh garments on hand that I can put on. It's not advisable to accompany your husband dressed in the outfit I had on here. It bears the marks of wear, crumpled and stained. Do you believe he is aware of our existence? Marissa gave a slight shake of her head. I don't believe that's the case. He has been quite occupied with something recently. It has consumed nearly all of his focus. He seldom engages in conversation with me and hardly ever participates in activities with the baby. It feels as if he's inhabiting an entirely different realm. For how much longer will you hold on to him? Jake inquired. Marissa gave a nonchalant shrug. It's difficult to determine. He ensures that everything is taken care of. I'm certain he would excel as a father if that was his desire. Do you believe he realizes that young Ezra isn't his? If he does, he's keeping it to himself. I find it hard to believe he would allow something like that to occur without bringing it up to me. I'll be here if you require any assistance. Marissa smiled at him, her gaze drifting down to his limp penis, now settled on his right leg. Could you please warm it up for me? Thanks, she remarked with a cunning grin. Absolutely, darling, he replied, matching her smile. Marissa strolled to her closet and retrieved a fresh dress. She was astonished at how much of her wardrobe had found its way into this closet rather than the one she shared with her husband. Marissa gazed at the dress she had selected, attempting to recall whether Tom had laid eyes on it previously. It was a striking shade of blue, falling gracefully to about 3 inches above the knee, and featured a captivating, alluring neckline. She felt confident that Tom had encountered it previously. If not, she would simply inform him that she had just purchased it. Following her conversation with her mother, Marissa stepped into the bathroom and indulged in a soothing hot shower. Once she stepped out of the shower, Marissa meticulously brushed her long, dark hair until it fell perfectly into place, chose her outfit, and carefully applied her makeup. Content with her appearance and fragrance, she kissed Jake and bid him good night, feeling ready for Tom's scrutiny. He inquired, his gaze sweeping over her from head to toe. "I'll see you at the office tomorrow." "Certainly, my dear, but obligations await me today." She gathered her purse and strolled out of the room with a relaxed grace. Silas Warner inhaled deeply from his cigarette while seated in his Escalade, parked in the lot opposite Mario's. He had just gotten word from one of the private investigators on his team that Marissa had vacated the upscale condominium belonging to Gideon Holt, her partner for nearly a year and a half. He gazed at the image of her in the blue dress that had been sent by the private investigator. It was not the dress she had arrived in at Carter's apartment, and naturally Tom had never laid eyes on it before. He felt no surprise. Marissa had a point about one aspect. Tom had ventured out east, yet he found himself back a day ahead of schedule. He received a clear and direct message that a significant security breach required his immediate attention. He received a warning that if he chose to ignore it, others would take matters into their own hands. They were naturally a federal agency shrouded in secrecy, one that the public was not permitted to acknowledge even existed. Tom recalled the anxiety that had coursed through him while he sat in the office of the enigmatic one-eyed figure he referred to as Alpha One. A select few were privy to the man's name, and Tom was not among them. "You've got a significant issue, Waters," the man stated, tilting his head in a manner that brought to mind the actor who had once portrayed Moses. "When you face a challenge, it becomes a challenge for all of us. Address that issue quietly, or I will take care of it myself." "Indeed, sir," Tom replied. He understood that this was the sole response Alpha One would deem acceptable. He was aware that Alpha One had no hesitation in making individuals vanish. He had come across tales of how Alpha Odin had once obliterated an entire beach estate, taking with him everyone within its confines. Tom recoiled at the mere idea. Marissa had believed Tom was merely a prominent salesman, journeying across the nation to offer his products to different companies eager to enhance their security systems. However, Tom encompassed so much more than that. Indeed, he was involved in the sale of security equipment and managed the installation process. Yet, he transcended the role of a mere salesman, embodying something far greater. The equipment he sold and installed featured unique circuits that provided the Alpha One monitors with insights into nearly all the activities of these companies, whom they engaged as clients, how they utilized their earnings, all of it. Tom understood that the issue Alpha was referring to was his wife of 5 years, Marissa, or rather, 5 years until today. For approximately the past 18 months, She had been entangled in a passionate liaison with Gideon Holt, a senior partner at the law firm, where she served as a paralegal. Until recently, Tom was unaware of all the details, largely due to his extensive work-related travels. Yet, he had observed that there had been an unsettling shift in their dynamic for some time. When he finally discovered the intricacies of the situation, Marissa had already revealed her pregnancy. The attorney Tom consulted informed him that no judge in this state would entertain a divorce petition while Marissa was expecting. If the baby was indeed his, he would be responsible for child support, irrespective of the prenuptial agreement they had both signed, unless he was free from concerns about the house he had owned prior to the marriage. Tom clenched his jaw and stayed quiet during the entire pregnancy, nearly losing his composure when she chose to name the boy Ezra in tribute to his sperm donor. Right after the boy was born, Tom arranged for a DNA test to be conducted. He felt no shock upon discovering that the boy did not belong to him. As Tom checked the time, he understood that Marissa's arrival was imminent. A man in a khaki jacket stood at the door of Mario's, accompanied by a woman clutching a briefcase, and he realized it was meant for him. He navigated the road and brought the vehicle to a stop. With his ever-present briefcase in hand, he made his way to the front door, offering a slight nod to the two individuals standing there. Tom leaned in softly to converse with the woman at the entrance before finding his place in a cozy corner booth. A man and woman dressed in khaki occupied a nearby booth, their conversation audible from where I sat. Tom expressed his gratitude to the waitress for the water and started to peruse the menu. He caught sight of Marissa at the table and placed the menu down. He rose to his feet as she gracefully settled into the booth opposite him. "Good evening, Marissa," he remarked with an even tone. "You appear quite splendid this evening." "Thank you, Tom," she said, a smile gracing her lips. "I don't remember having seen that dress before. Is it something fresh?" "Indeed, I have just purchased it. Are you fond of it?" "Indeed, it truly enhances the beauty of your eyes," he remarked with a subtle smile. Once they completed their order, melodies drifted in from a distant corner of the establishment. Mario's transcended the ordinary concept of a restaurant. It featured a vibrant dance floor and an inviting cocktail bar. "It seems like they're playing our song," Marissa remarked. Tom understood that this was her subtle invitation to the dance floor. What on earth, he pondered. It was their anniversary, though it loomed as their final one. "Would you like to dance?" he inquired, rising to his feet. "I don't mind," Marissa said, extending her hand. Tom grasped her hand gently and guided her toward the dance floor. They swayed together, lost in the moment, yet Marissa sensed a subtle barrier. Tom maintained a hesitant space, as if he struggled to bridge the gap between them. The final notes of the song faded away, and Tom guided her back to the booth. At that moment, their meal arrived, and they started to indulge in their food. "Is something wrong, Tom?" Marissa asked. "Your demeanor appears quite understated. Today marks our special day together." "Indeed, it is," Tom replied. "Your dress has an odor reminiscent of something that's been stored away in Gideon Holt's closet for quite a while. No matter how much effort you put in, his lingering scent remains, refusing to leave your body entirely." "What?" Marissa inquired, her feelings hurt by the way Tom was addressing her. "Gideon Holt. Is this for real?" she inquired, attempting to divert Tom's attention without success. "Indeed, you're familiar with Gideon Holt. one of the senior partners at the law firm where you're employed," Tom remarked, as if it were an ordinary conversation. "Oh, I definitely know him," Marissa replied, with a hint of sarcasm. Tom expressed his hope with certainty. "Ultimately, you've dedicated a considerable amount of time in his bed. Additionally, he is the biological contributor for little Ezra." "What do you mean? This is absolutely unacceptable." "I refuse to sit here and let you speak to me in that manner," she declared, her voice laced with indignation. "Please have a seat," Tom said, as he opened his briefcase. "You will remain in your seat and take in whatever knowledge I choose to share, particularly in light of your actions over the past 16 months. "Excuse me? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Of course you do." "Let's begin with this," he said, placing a piece of paper before her. "What is this?" "The outcome of your child's DNA test has arrived. This indicates that Ezra is not my son. The following document reveals another DNA test confirming that the sperm donor is indeed your partner, Gideon Holt, the very man you chose to name Ezra after. How on earth did you manage to obtain Jake's DNA?" she inquired, her brow furrowed in perplexity. "It was effortless. You carried it back with you at least 3 nights a week, but that was just the beginning." He retrieved a hefty folder and flung it onto the table. "What was that?" "Please provide a copy of all emails, text messages, and correspondence between you and Jake from the past 16 months. I'm sorry to say this, but the reality is that internet privacy is essentially non-existent." "All right, I confess," she stated. "Jake and I had a brief encounter, but it was nothing more than a physical connection. It held no significance, not in the slightest. Is that so? Kindly navigate to page 75 and proceed to the midpoint of the page where you will discover the passage I have marked. Share your observations with me." She turned the pages until she reached the one Tom had mentioned. Her complexion drained of color as she recited her own words to Jake. "I am in a state of anticipation." "I'm reading it," she murmured softly, spoken aloud. "I would love to hear you express the thoughts you penned for him." She took a deep breath and glanced at the page once more. "Please," she implored, "please. I really don't want to go through with this. It's either you take care of it, or I will step in and handle it myself. And if I go through with it, I won't mind who listens." Tears streamed down her face as Marissa gazed at the paper once more, her eyes tracing the words Tom had highlighted. "Your actions are captivating, Jake. In the past 16 months, I have experienced a level of fulfillment that I've never known before. I eagerly anticipate the joy of welcoming another little one into our lives. Throughout our entire marriage, I can't recall you ever speaking to me in that manner," Tom remarked. "Is that everything you've got?" she inquired, with a hint of anxiety. "No. I possess images, recordings, and footage, countless hours of video." "You must really hate me," Marissa said softly. "Absolutely, I certainly do." Her gaze lifted, astonished by his recent words. It felt like a sudden jolt of reality. "Once, I would have faced any danger for you. For how long have you been aware? Even before you shared the news of your pregnancy, I had my doubts. I conducted some thorough research and uncovered sufficient evidence to uphold the prenup. However, by the time I consulted with a lawyer, you had already let me know that you were expecting. The attorney clearly stated that no judge would entertain the idea of divorce until after you had given birth, along with matters of child support and everything else related. Now that Ezra had arrived, I found myself equipped with ample proof to fulfill my role. I initiated divorce proceedings, citing infidelity as the reason. Tom gestured towards a couple at a nearby table who rose and made their way over to them. This kind gentleman has a little something for you. Is Miss Marissa Langley available? The man inquired. Indeed, Marissa replied softly. A heavy paper envelope was set down before her by the man. You have received your notice. Presented? Marissa inquired, tears streaming down her cheeks. Certainly, Tom replied, offering her a pen. Examine the divorce documents. They align perfectly with our agreement in the prenup. Once you sign them, I'll be prepared to provide you with a bank check for $2,145.63, the precise sum you possessed at the time of our marriage. Please refrain from requesting anything further. I'm already aware of your hidden slush fund. Feel free to hold on to it. Your belongings have been delivered to your mother's residence. Indeed, she is aware, and her disappointment in you runs deep. However, she has consented to have you stay with her until you secure your own place. For the young lad, not for you. But I don't want to end this, Marissa said. Absolutely, I adore you. Please, Marissa, refrain from undermining my intelligence. Pay attention to this. He took out his phone and listened to the conversation she had with Jake from earlier that day. Her eyes grew large as she recognized her own voice emanating from Tom's phone. How did you manage to obtain that? She inquired. Well, I could share that with you, but then it would necessitate some rather drastic measures. Despite the animosity I feel towards you at this moment, I can't help but believe it was unjust to take little Ezra's mother away from him, Tom remarked, his smile devoid of any genuine warmth. I was merely a source of support and a caretaker for you while your child's father reaped all the rewards. Your ticket has been punched, just so you're aware. No more complimentary meals for you. Certainly not from my end. What's the situation with Jake? She inquired, concerned about Daddy, right? Fortunately, we reside in a state that permits legal action for alienation of affection. He is currently being served. It might result in something or it might not, but ultimately, it's the principle that counts, right? Regardless, his troubles are only just starting. Today, I had a conversation with Percival Crane, your managing partner. I presented my evidence and conveyed my dissatisfaction. Being aware that one of his senior partners is entangled with a subordinate, particularly one who happens to be my wife, at least for now, Mr. Parker felt a deep sense of frustration and worry that Mr. Carter's behavior could attract undesirable scrutiny towards his company, along with a potentially hefty financial strain. He concurred that it would be most prudent for Mr. Carter to sever ties with the firm and promised to bring this matter before his board of directors later this evening. He also acknowledged that it would be unjust to impose any penalties on you, particularly given your role as a mother with a newborn. Ultimately, Mr. Carter held a position of authority over you, if I may point out, and he was concerned about the possibility of the firm facing a sexual harassment lawsuit. Considering your experience there, he concurred that it would be wise to retain you for the time being. However, I can guarantee you that Mr. Carter's troubles are only starting, Tom remarked. What do you truly understand about your partner? Do you truly understand? What do you mean? Marissa inquired. I'm referring to his clients, the individuals he engages in business with. I'm curious about who he truly embodies and what activities occupy his time when he's not tucking you away in his mattress. What insights do you have on that? I'm not sure. He never discusses any of those things with me. That seems to be a positive outcome. It's safe to say that Gideon Holt's clientele is quite intriguing, drawing the interest of specific federal agencies, agencies capable of making someone vanish without a trace. Do you understand what I mean? You frighten me, Tom, and you ought to be frightened, he said to her. Do you feel a sense of fear that keeps you at a distance from Gideon Holt? As he descends, anyone in proximity will inevitably face the same fate. Who is it that you are, Tom? She inquired. Is that so? He offered a smile, his head nodding in acknowledgement of the papers laid out before her. Marissa, please sign the papers and put an end to this charade immediately. I may have shared more than I intended. Additionally, your credit card has been deactivated and your house key is no longer functional. I replaced the locks today while you were with Jake. I have managed the bank account and you no longer have access to it. If you're setting aside half of your earnings into your own hidden account, that shouldn't pose any issues for you at all. You were aware of it all, weren't you? She inquired. Tom lifted his shoulders in a casual gesture. Feeling a sense of defeat, Marissa glanced at the divorce papers and realized they matched Tom's description perfectly. With a swift motion, she signed the papers and returned the pen to Tom. With a smile, he grasped the pen and surveyed the documents before him. The process server observed the signatures, while the woman with him notarized the signed documents. Tom returned the documents to the gentleman. The man stated, I will ensure this reaches your lawyer, Mr. Waters. Thank you, Tom expressed. Once they departed, Tom faced Marissa once more. I believe it's time for you to return the rings, he said to her. Must I really do that? Those rings are absolutely stunning, she exclaimed. Clearly, that wasn't sufficient to keep her away from Gideon Holt's bed. With a heavy heart, Marissa gently took off the rings and set them down on the table. He slipped them into his pocket before facing her. I think we have reached the end of our discussions here. Is that the final decision you've reached? Is that everything you wish to express? Is there anything else to discuss? Tom inquired. What is the reason behind this? What prompted you to take this action on our anniversary? She inquired, tears cascading down her cheeks. Can you imagine the embarrassment I felt in that moment? Can you imagine the embarrassment I felt discovering that you've been playing games with me all along? How utterly humiliating it was to discover that Ezra wasn't my son? And how utterly humiliating it was for me to discover that you were with Carter on our anniversary. Tom dismissed it with a wave. It's over. It's over. Farewell, Marissa. I never want to lay my eyes on you again. With that, he returned to his meal, avoiding eye contact with Marissa, who was busy wiping her face. The server approached and inquired if all was well. Indeed, the food is superb as ever, Tom remarked casually. I will handle the payment, and I assume the lady will be taking her food with her. Thank you. Indeed, the waitress replied as she departed to fetch Marissa's food box. Moments later, she came back and placed Marissa's uneaten meal into a styrofoam container. Tom presented his credit card to the waitress, settling the bill as Marissa collected her belongings. Once the waitress finished her task, Marissa turned her gaze toward Tom. Is that all? That's all, Tom remarked, gesturing with his hand. She was in disbelief that he had simply dismissed her. I apologize, Tom. He shifted his focus from his meal before uttering a word. Indeed, we can both find common ground on that, he remarked. Wishing you a wonderful day ahead. Please send my regards to your mom. And happy anniversary, he said with a subtle smile. Marissa, unable to comprehend the serene way her husband had essentially discarded her, fled from the table in tears. With a grin, Tom returned to his meal. He caught the gaze of several diners, their expressions dripping with disdain, yet he merely smiled in return, nonchalantly shrugging his shoulders. On the surface, he appeared composed and serene, yet within, he was a whirlwind of emotional turmoil. 5 years wasted, but at least the hardest part was behind me. Epilogue. Tom navigated the following days without any complications. It was a challenging journey. He had once truly cherished Marissa, and it pained him to treat her in such a manner. Yet he resolved that it was preferable to act this way than to unleash his desires upon her, as he longed to do. At last, the moment arrived when he heard a knock at his front door. From the vantage point of his master bedroom upstairs, he gazed out the window, spotting Carter's sleek sports car parked in the driveway. He sensed that an event of this nature was on the horizon, prompting him to enhance his home security system at the suggestion of Alpha 1. He descended the stairs and unlatched the door. It was Gideon Holt, naturally, and he was furious. Tom retreated as Carter maneuvered his way inside. "You absolute scoundrel. You've taken away my job, and now Justin won't even speak to me. I'll end you, you worthless scum," Jake yelled, his face turning red. He towered over Tom until 15 tiny red dots abruptly emerged on his shirt. "Urgent. Tempest." A mechanical voice blared from the speakers embedded in the walls. "Remain still." "What on earth is this?" shouted the unexpected visitor. He lifted his hands, mimicking the motion of brushing away the dots. In an instant, a sharp crack pierced the air, reminiscent of the pop from an air rifle. As Jake glanced downward, he was met with the sight of 15 darts embedded in his flesh. He reached up, yet he never succeeded. His eyes fluttered upward, and his body crumpled to the ground. "I doubt you'll manage to take anyone out today, Carter," Tom remarked coolly, reaching for his phone. He tapped an icon on the phone and was greeted by a man's voice. "Operator 715463. Please attend to aisle 15, Tom instructed. "Clean up aisle 15. "Understood?" the man instructed. Tom activated another icon, causing the systems that had just launched a volley of tranquilizer darts at Jake to pivot and retract seamlessly into the ceiling. As the system's doors sealed shut, an eerie silence enveloped the space, leaving no trace of what once existed within. Tom beamed, pleased that the new security system had performed as promised. Moments later, a nondescript white van rolled into the driveway. A group of men clad in Tyvek suits entered the house and pulled Jake's lifeless body outside. One of them snatched Jake's keys and hopped into the sports car. A few minutes later, both the van and Jake's sports car had disappeared. Tom shut the door behind him and continued with his tasks. A few days later, after Tom had purchased a caramel mocha at a nearby coffee shop, he found himself halted on the street by a hefty man clad in a dark suit and sunglasses. "Mr. Waters, Alpha 1 wishes to speak with you," the man snarled. "All right," Tom remarked, feeling somewhat disheartened by the man's actions. He trailed the man to a sleek black limousine stationed by the curb and entered once the man held the back door open for him. "Waters, it's great to see you out," Alpha 1 remarked once the door shut. "Indeed, I have quite a bit on my plate," Tom remarked. Alpha Odin grinned and placed his hand on Tom's shoulder with a warm gesture. "It was my pleasure, Tom." "When it's just the two of us, you can call me Regis," said the man with one eye. "I would like to provide you with an update regarding Mr. Carter." He has a voice that trills with the lightness of a canary. Thank you, Alpha. Regis, so he claims to say all the right things then? Tom inquired. Indeed, he gets straight to the point, remarked Regis. But now he's truly spilling the beans. It appears that the blend of those tranquilizer darts in the latest security setup and the serum we employ to gather the necessary information has rendered his mind into a state of utter confusion. At this moment, he is swaying back and forth on a swing within a metal enclosure, emitting cheerful chirps reminiscent of a bird. Tom observed as Regis retrieved an envelope from his jacket pocket and extended it towards him. Regis remarked that they managed to reach a settlement with him before his ability to sign his name diminished too much. His gratitude for being alive led him to consent to far more than you had anticipated. That's great to hear, Tom remarked. Regis expressed his admiration, saying, I want you to know that I'm truly impressed with your new system. Now that we have what we need from Carter, I'm relieved you didn't go with the .50 caliber chain guns I proposed. Likewise, Tom remarked. Recently, I had my carpet cleaned. Regis smiled at that. Have you come across any news regarding Marissa? Tom inquired. Indeed, she has returned to her duties, yet Mr. Parker maintains a tight grip on her activities. Have you ever revealed to her the true nature of your employer? Regis inquired. No, Regis, I never did, Tom replied. Regis inclined his head in acknowledgement. He was already aware of it through his monitoring devices, yet he desired to hear it directly from Tom. Very well, Regis replied. Once your divorce is finalized, I would appreciate it if you could visit headquarters. Allow me to present your new partner. Companion, Tom inquired. I've always managed on my own. Indeed, every experience begins with a first, doesn't it, Tom? Indeed, sir, I believe so, replied Tom. Excellent, remarked Regis. I eagerly anticipate our meeting. Likewise, Regis, Tom replied. The door creaked open, marking the conclusion of the gathering. Tom emerged from the limousine, observing as the hefty figure contorted himself into the driver's seat. As the lengthy vehicle blended into the flow of cars, Tom pondered the surprises that awaited him from Regis. Thanks for watching this story on Addy Story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new tale. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, take care and keep living your own amazing stories.